Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Voltaire, I think, said if we're going to converse, first define your terms. We got to know what we're talking about. You could be using the same word as me and we could mean totally different things. Therefore, we're not really communicating. I want to talk today about the definitions of the differences between teams, mags, tribes, community, things like that. I remember back in the day when we would have long conversations either around campfires, dinner tables, or online about the difference between a survivalist and a prepper. And I had pretty hard opinions on that. But think about it today. You ask the average preparedness-minded person, average, what's the difference between a survivalist and a prepper? They don't know. What's the term? I was in the military and I got moved around a lot. Every 18 months to 2 or 3 years, I moved. And so I'm constantly going to a new place. I understand the value of community, team, tribe, mag. And so I would either find and join an existing mag, or if a suitable one was not around, I would start one. And then, be a member of it. Because I knew my family's safety was more insured if I had other like-minded people, right? So I've seen many different groups, teams, and so on. Tribe is a relatively new term. We never called anything tribe back then. And so I just, in this video, just kind of want to break this up a little bit so you guys can think about it. First of all, I'm not a survival guru yet. Mel Tappan, he was a survivalist guru. Ragnar Benson, which was a, nom de plume, he was one. Bruce Clayton, but lately there's not really any. Ron Hood did a lot of good work back in the day, but because of YouTube and the internet, there's just so many people out there that there's nobody really rises to the top. And so I can say whatever I want, but I don't get to define the terms for the movement, man. Right? So I'm just going to give you my take on it. Understand that when it all depends, I guess, this is rather complex. I should have thought this out a little bit. It all depends on what your vision of what's going to happen is. If you want to just get together and practice setting up shelters and camping and building a fire and maybe even doing, patrolling tactics or nuclear, biological, chemical stuff. You just want to kind of like do prepper survivalist stuff. You could be in a group of people that had like-minded interests, right? And I call that a group. And that group can be people from as far away as are willing to fly to your location to participate in activities. There is goodness in a group that actually does things. I have seen a lot of groups that devolve into what I call coffee groups, right? All they do is they schedule, some of them start out with well-meaning, good intentions. They're well-meaning. They come up with a cool name and they end up, we're going to get together every 4 weeks. The first weekend of every month, we're going to get together and train. Okay, and what ends up happening is they get together, they end up sitting around drinking coffee or beer sometimes, sitting around a campfire, talking bad about their government, whatever, kvetching, whining, complaining. Yeah, the world's going to crap, and it's kind of like a little echo chamber, and that's all they do. And they end up falling apart because there's no value, there's no worth there. I have to yell at my dogs, excuse me. Hey, come here, dog. They're getting ready to take off. So those are groups. A group can be good. Again, if you have a group that wants to get together and train on things, cool, you're getting trained. But by my definition, this group is not going to help you when the balloon goes up, when the zombies come out, when, all these things happen. Great, my dogs are gone. Wrestle, wrestle. My male's been chasing the neighbor's cows. Oh, there they come. Good dogs. Come here. Good boy, good girl. Good boy. Come here. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You want to say hi to the people? Look at the puppies. All right. All right, so where are we? Groups. A group can serve you well if the group is doing things that make you better, right? And it's easier to learn things with a group. You know, if we get a big enough group together, somebody could teach us how to drive a backhoe, somebody could teach us how to rappel, somebody else could teach us how to do first aid, right? And so there's goodness there, and that's how I see a group. But they're not going to help you when the balloon goes up. And so when I tell y'all, see, we should probably, the Vikings should probably define our terms, and I get to do that, right? And so maybe I need to be more precise. When I tell y'all that the purpose of a meetup is to form groups, this is not the type of group I'm talking about. I'm really talking about forming mags or teams, right? And maybe I will start saying that. It's just we have constant new people coming in, and I don't want to like blow their mind when they first show up. But a group is good as far as it goes. A matter of fact, these meetups, some of these meetups, and I've been talking to y'all about that, that are becoming consistent and people are getting together, those are really groups. And I say, you know, the purpose of a meetup is not the meetup, it's to form a group. What I'm really talking about, though, is the purpose of the meetup group is not the meetup group, it's to form teams and mags. So let's get to that. Because I care about you. See, I want to see you come through what's coming. And to do that, you're going to need PISOs. You're going to need left and right security, front and rear support, you know, bump, 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 bump. You're going to need people. It takes a village, right? But you're going to need that. And so, yeah, I should probably become more precise in my speech. But that's what I see a group as. A group gets together, hopefully on a fairly regular basis, scheduled, and with specific things to do. If you have a group started, you have to do stuff. And here's the thing, you want to keep a vibrant group, you want to do things that everyone can participate in most of the time. You know, we could have the pull-up competition in our group occasionally, but you know darn well there are people in the group that don't want to or can't do pull-ups, all right? So they're not going to participate. If you constantly do the He-Man macho stuff, you're going to lose the women in your group, right? If you constantly do the talking about babies, I'm being a little bit facetious here, but you know, and cooking apple turnovers, you're going to lose the dudes, right? So you got to keep it real. Everyone has something to contribute. Everyone should contribute, and it should be a broad variety of tasks that the group undertakes. From doing community service to doing a first aid class to doing a, you know, bug out bag layout, whatever. But for those of you who are on your third and fourth meeting with your meetup groups, start thinking about that. Don't let it devolve into just talk, 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 or people are going to quit coming, right? You got to give them something to do. They have to leave that event thinking, that's cool. I learned something there. That was worth my time. All right, so that's a group in my mind. Trying to get in the shade again. See, I don't have a camera person. All right, there we go. Team. Teams are what you really need to strive for. When the balloon goes up and the zombies come out and the chaos reigns and the people are rioting in the street, you need those people, right? Let's call that a team. A team has to be proximate. You have to be close to each other. You're not a team if Bob and Sue are staying at their house 5 miles away from you and your spouse, 5 miles, 15 miles away from, you know, this other really cool family. But who's helping you? Who's pulling security? Somebody's got to be awake during troubled times. All the time, awake and watching and doing nothing else but awake and watching and looking for trouble, ready to alert everyone, right? If you're anticipating big problems, travel is going to be difficult. Bob and Sue aren't going to be able to jump in their car and make that 10-minute drive to your house, All right, it starts getting a little difficult. This is where it comes down to something's got to give. There has to be a central location that people agree they are going to live through the crisis. Whether that's in your spare bedroom or in the garage or in a tent out in the yard or a shed that we're going to convert into a cabin or another house. Something. But these things have to be decided on. And again, our survivalist mindset, you know, the vision of the here I am alone in the wilderness, conquering all that I see. I need no one. That gets in the way. That gets in the way of reality. And so you've got these people who are like, nah, we're just going to stay home. Not a good plan. When you're at home, 10 guys can take you. When you're at the same house as 3 other families, 10 guys aren't going to be able to take you if you know what you're doing. So that in my mind is a team, and a team is closer together. They have plans to be together when something bad happens, and you need to work towards that. There's a lot of trust issues there, right? And there's a lot of time sitting around dining room tables and campfires that has to occur before you can develop a team. A MAG, a mutual assistance group. You know, MAGs are kind of like teams. It's people who say they're going to come together. It's become a trendy word, though. I think you could have a mutual assistance group that could function pretty well short of Tiawaki SHTF, meaning go back to the group where people get together, let's say monthly, you know, the second weekend of every month we're going to get together and do things. That could develop into a mutual assistance group. You know, Mabel needs a new deck on her porch. We've got this group of people scattered over, you know, 120 miles. Hey, next weekend, next event, we're going to Mabel's house to fix her deck. You are assisting Mabel, right? Somebody has a baby, so people take over doing meals, you know, things like that. Organize that, get that going. That is a mutual assistance group. It doesn't have to be the end of the world to be beneficial, right? And again, there's trust issues. People have to come together frequently so they get to know each other, stuff like that. End of the world mutual assistance group. In my experience, most of them are just fantasy role players, airsoft type mentality people. Yeah, man, we're gonna do this stuff. It's usually the guys. The women aren't really on board, and therefore it ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna work. But if you want to have a mutual assistance group, then the group has to start laying out in some detail. I think it should end up being written down, probably not on a computer, but written down. Here's our indicators. When this happens, we all are doing this thing. When this happens, we all are doing this thing. When this happens, we all are doing this. Tighter, 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 until we all end up at the Johnson's farm. Because, you know, that's the only way we're going to make it. So, there's that. Tribe. Tribe goes deep. I've talked about tribe before. I don't want to get too deep into it now, but tribe is like family, right? Tribe is like kin, extended. There are deeper things than just one subject, preparedness, that unite a tribe. People see themselves as part of the tribe as more important than being an individual or an individual family. The tribe is what's important. It's that whole thing about the wolf. I don't know, the wolf and the pack, and we said something like that in Webelos or Boy Scouts too, but I think it was from Kipling. The pack supports the wolf supports the pack, you know, something like that. But that's kind of tribe, right? Everything, everyone's focus is on that tribe. And again, it's usually people are united by ties of kinship or deep belief or things like that. So, I'm probably going to have to revisit this because I'm not super happy with it. I'm going to have to sit down and write some stuff out. You can help me by you putting comments on what you think. And then maybe we can come up with, how do we define a group? How do we define a tribe? How do we define a MAG? How do we define a team? And some of these things can be subsets of others, right? You know, you could have a team within a mag. You could have your medical team within the mag. You could have your medical team within the troop or the tribe. In the end, we got to define our terms. What it is what you and I agree that it is. What you and your people agree that it is. Go out there and get with some people. All right, I'll see you out there.